各位觀眾，大家好，歡迎收睇26分鐘見證實錄。喺加拿大流行嘅多種不同體育活動項目之中體操似乎並未能夠排上最受歡迎嘅名次。咁但係事實上，作為體育運動嘅基礎項目，體操訓練對於從事其他運動嘅人嚟講，亦都會起到好大嘅幫助㗎。不過喺本國，如果想走上專業嘅體操運動員道路，究竟需要付出幾多嘅時間同埋精力，甚至金錢嘅投入呢？而當局對於體操運動嘅重視程度又係咪足夠啦
？So I got to perform in the circus all around the world, and it's a really amazing opportunity for gymnasts.
I just think it's such a beautiful sport, and with the strength and the talent behind it.
I'm not sure about being a professional gymnast yet, but for this year, I'd just like to make the Canadian Nationals and have a good season.
怎么样的去训练孩子？我觉得体育是最好的训练孩子毅力的一个方式。
蔣正嫻 Laura Ann 正係一間位於蘭里嘅馬戲藝術館內進行教學。佢現時係一名私人課程體操教練，而現年33歲嘅佢，從2歲起就開始學習體操。
What attracted me was, I think it was my family friend's or second cousin's birthday. And so we did a gymnastics birthday party for him. And of course I went and loved it, apparently. And because I was such a hyperactive child at home, climbing over all the furniture and everything, my parents decided to put me into gymnastics classes, and I was there ever since.
佢曾經係加拿大國家體操隊嘅候補隊員，之後獲得咗美國全國大學體育協會獎學金，成為咗俄勒岡州全美體操運動員，最終進入到太陽馬戲團工作。
So I got to perform in the circus all around the world, and it's a really amazing opportunity for gymnasts, especially because we don't necessarily have a professional league of gymnastics, and so we have to look at other avenues to still be able to do the skills that we love to do.
但係由於新冠疫情嘅影響，佢參與嘅演出都被取消。
My show leading up to the pandemic, it was supposed to continue doing a couple more cities on our tour plan, which the pandemic and COVID-19 interrupted. And then we were looking at doing some other shows for creation to put out in the new year, and also those projects had to be canceled when the world stopped. So I don't know if it would be 2 more years or 5 more years. Really, it would be up to how my body was feeling, how my mental was doing, because touring life is amazing but also very challenging, and there's a lot to to adapt to all the time, so that can be quite fatiguing sometimes, but it was an amazing experience, and so I think if the pandemic didn't hit, I definitely would still be in it right now.
事實上喺高中嘅時候 Laura Ann 就已經開始從事體操教練嘅工作。
I would go to school in the morning, and then I would train in the afternoon, and then after that I would coach a couple hours, a couple times a week as well. Then go home and do homework and eat dinner and all that. But yeah, so they were very long days, but it was really awesome to be able to have that opportunity to coach at such a young age and then continue throughout my years now, just because it is a sport that I'm really passionate about, and I do really love to see other athletes kind of get new skills and get motivated and have fun with gymnastics.
25歲嘅 Desiree Manning 係一名專業嘅舞蹈演員，現時佢正在喺 Laura Ann 嘅指導下學習一啲包括打筋斗在內嘅體操技巧，而佢係從16歲開始就接觸體操訓練。
Well, first of all, I love the strength behind it and the ease of it, and how they make it look so easy, and just the fact of going upside down with ease is so inspiring. Yeah, my motivation was, as a dancer, it's a really big thing to be able to tumble and do tricks and flip upside down. And so I wanted to enhance my dance with tumbling and going upside down. But besides that, I've always been attracted to it. Since I was little, I remember always being on my hands and like wanting to go upside down and be on my hands. So it kind of just like pulled me towards it. But like my big motivation is how it enhances my dance career.
Desiree 話：學習體操對於佢嘅職業幫助非常大。作為一名舞者，掌握更多嘅體操技巧，令佢多咗好多職業選擇。
I just think it's such a beautiful sport, and like with the strength and the talent behind it, and like even if you're not going to be like a professional gymnast, I think it's something that everyone could try. And like overall strength, and like it can be fun too. And I'm just happy that I started doing it for my dance career because it really like upped all the options out there. Once when I was on Disney Cruise Line, they asked me to step into a position that I haven't done before, and it was a tumbling position, and so that's when it comes in handy. And it was on Disney Cruise Line. It was during the Aladdin musical, and it was the carpet, and so it was actually the magic carpet in Aladdin, and so it's this costume that like has tassels, right? The tassels, and it's attached and everything, and so like it's literally like a square, and I had to tumble in it.
Laura Ann 話：佢嘅課程並冇固定模式，而係根據學生嘅自身情況以及意願進行針對性嘅訓練。
So they have to understand what's my body needing. Do I need more rest? Do I need to push myself more? And really being able to navigate that. And once you can really own your training and own your body and own everything that goes with it, then you'll be very successful professionally. So that's what I tried to instill with Desi, and it's been really amazing to watch her get some of the skills that she lost a little bit a while ago, and now she's starting to incorporate into her dances more.
而去年疫情期間，佢就一直喺呢一間馬戲藝術館嘅藝術家預備課程之中擔任教練。
Which is a program that Jason, the founder of Circus Lab, created to reach out to those people who are interested in becoming professional acrobats. So they're all individuals who have graduated high school, so it's 18 plus, more or less. And they're looking to get into either Cirque du Soleil or other special events.
There's something that's like missing, but yeah, we actually have like little bones in there. We've got about 15 coaches between our professional program and our recreational program. We've got upwards to 250 students in all the programs.
馬戲藝術館始創人之一 Jason Wolf 話：8年之前成立該個藝術館嘅初衷係為自己，亦都係為咗其他人提供一個更專業嘅訓練場地。而佢亦都係藝術家預備課程嘅教練。
At that point, I would say that you really need to do some self-evaluating and see if you're willing to put in the time and the energy. A lot of people think that circus is for everybody, and it definitely is. But at a high level, you need to be aware of your limitations, your skill sets, and work within those parameters.
即使15、16歲先至接觸體操 ，Jason 卻係深刻認識到學習體操對於從事其他運動有好大幫助。
I've always enjoyed the outdoors climbing, jumping over and around things. So gymnastics is I think it's the foundation of mechanics, of movement. So by having gymnastics, you're able to do any other sport really.
而佢認為專業體操運動員嘅重要品質體現喺跌低時嘅表現。
Because when they fall and they get a small injury, nothing big, it's when I really get to see their character and see if they're willing to get back up, brush themselves off, and push through it, or if they're going to use that as an excuse to stay where they are.
但係喺本國，如果想成為專業嘅體操運動員，相關嘅資源又是否足夠呢？ Jason 就認為，相比起美國以及歐洲一啲國家，本國嘅人口較少，令到參與呢一項運動嘅人數不足，或者係缺乏資源嘅根本原因。
So with fewer people participating in gymnastics, we're going to end up with fewer people that end up being coaches. So you're going to find that the high-level programs are very scattered. And if you live in a region where there's no gymnastics, that's an entire population of people that won't be experiencing what gymnastics has to offer. So I don't know if that's directly a lack of resources, but definitely it's very difficult. And then obviously as such, the government isn't going to be able to funnel as much money as it needs to pursue those arts because there's just not as much of a population for that. Gymnastics is really the foundation of so many other sports, and I think that with proper funneling of the funds and the resources, it would expand not just gymnastics, but all of the other disciplines as well.
Ever since I was younger, I remember, I think I was probably 8 years old or so, and my dad and I went to the Coquitlam City Council to talk about amateur funding for sports. And it's something that's always going to need more.
Laura Ann 亦都認為喺本國並未有足夠嘅資源嚟支持體操呢一項運動。
Part of it is perspective as well. I think gymnastics unfortunately gets overlooked, even though it is such a huge fundamental sport. I always encourage parents to put their children into gymnastics, not because we expect them to become Olympians or even do competitive gymnastics, but it teaches that individual how to use their body. It teaches them coordination and strength that can be crossed into every other sport. Even just if they're not in sports anymore, but they're playing with their friends or whatnot, you can tell that they understand how to properly push off their legs or how to fall even safely.
佢相信想要喺體操方面獲得一定嘅成就，不可缺少嘅係對呢一項運動嘅熱誠。
Definitely, you have to love what you do, no matter what it is. So for me, I'm 33 years old, and I still absolutely love gymnastics. I still love to flip. I still love acrobatics, which is why I think or I know, if Cirque were to call or another company were to call with a contract or something, it would definitely be very, very high on my priority list to see what I could do to take that.
而佢認為，如果想要學習體操，任何時候、任何年齡都唔會遲。
I was at an appointment the other day, and my therapist was like, I've always wanted to do a handstand. And I was like, well, what are we doing after we're done my session? I was like, am I your last patient? And he said yes. So I was like, okay, we're going to go do some handstands. And so we went into their gym in the facility, and I taught him some basics and some progressions, because you don't just go and do something, right? But you have to work at it every day, or at least frequently. And the more you can do it consistently, then the more your body will internalize it. And I would really encourage anyone to not just say oh, I'm too old. I mean, even in Cirque, I was on the same show with someone who was over 50 years old, and they were still performing. And oftentimes, you get individuals in, they're so active and bubbly, and then you find out how old they are, and you're just like, what? That's impressive. And so it really, for me, age doesn't have a cap anymore, which is really incredible to know that, because it's okay, who knows what's going to happen in the future.
下一節我哋將會同另一位正在訓練之中嘅體操運動員，以及佢嘅屋企人以及教練傾一傾佢哋嘅經歷同埋感受。而曾經擔任過國家體操隊嘅教練，對於本國嘅體操運動員嘅培訓又有啲乜嘢睇法呢？歡迎返嚟節目時間。曾經喺中國同埋加拿大都擔任過國家體操隊教練嘅人士，對於兩國培訓體操運動員嘅方式都有住深刻嘅了解。並且明確表明兩者之間存在好大嘅差異。而有青年體操運動員同埋佢哋嘅屋企人，亦都深知道喺本國專業體操嘅道路並唔易行，喺投入大量嘅時間嘅同時亦都需要一定程度嘅經濟支持。Sophie Patterson 正喺呢一間位於高桂林嘅體操訓練館內練習體操。現年14歲嘅佢，從1歲半開始就接觸體操呢一項運動。
I started because I was slow to crawl and walk as a baby, so my parents put me into gymnastics to start to speed it along. I do 5 days a week for 4.5 hours a day. Well, I do half days at high school, so I only do 2 blocks in the morning. And then I do training in the afternoons, and I have 1 class online for now.
由於比賽等嘅行程，佢曾經去到全國其他城市以及國外交流學習。
I love being able to travel all around Canada, and I like being able to see my friends every day and learning new skills. There haven't been many away for the past year, but I've been to Quebec many times, Alberta, and I've once gone to France.
Sophie 話：過去10多年嘅訓練時間裏面，亦都曾經有過放棄嘅念頭。
Definitely thought about quitting before, but at the end of the day, gymnastics is my whole life, and I don't know what I'd do without it. Most of my friends aren't very interested in gymnastics because they see how much work I have to put into it, but they're very supportive.
而佢近期嘅目標就係要入選加拿大初級國家隊。
I'm not sure about being a professional gymnast yet, but for this year, I'd just like to make the Canadian Nationals and have a good season.
而能夠堅持體操訓練至今，離不開父母嘅支持。
Yeah, they're very supportive. Without them, I wouldn't be able to have any of the great experiences I've had. Sometimes they get nervous, but they know that my coaches wouldn't make me do anything I couldn't do.
Sophie 嘅父親 Richard 回憶話 ，Sophie 嘅母親作為一名脊椎按摩師，喺 Sophie 細個嘅時候，認為佢需要更多嘅身體發展，因此就將佢送去學習體操。
She took to it right away, so she was climbing all over the gym as a toddler. She could focus, and she just loved it. She had great balance right away, and she was just quite a little athlete already, even at 2 years old.
而佢坦言，作為父母，確實係有過擔憂。
Well, I think we've had the same worries all along. Just a concern that she not be too stressed or feel too much pressure, or that she not work too hard or get injured. And I think that's been the same whether she was 6 years old and training hard or now when she's 14.
但係對女兒嘅支持唔會改變。
We'll go as far as she wants to, but it's really, she has to, at this point, when they're a young teenager, she has to be in the driver's seat. It's her career. She has to figure out what she wants to do, and we're just there to support.
Richard 話：佢哋好開心，女兒能夠好好咁平衡到學業以及體操訓練。
I think what we've seen so far has been really great. I mean, she's so focused. We've always said school comes first, so she's a great student, and she brings the same kind of intensity and focus that you see here in the gym, she brings to her schoolwork. So at schoolwork, we see a great improvement, and she's just a good person, just has a good citizen, and that's what we really want. And if she goes farther in gymnastics as a career, that's just icing on the cake.
佢亦都肯定體操會、卑斯體操協會以及加拿大體操協會所提供嘅支持。不過整體嚟講，父母先至係能夠支持子女繼續從事體育運動嘅關鍵。
But overall, at the end of the day, for most sports families in Canada, regardless of what sport you're in, it falls on the parents, really. And we're lucky we can do that. I mean, it's just a long road. We don't really know where she wants to go, if she wants to have a collegiate career afterwards or try for some high level like Olympics or something. But just for now, she seems happy. She's with a great group of friends here. So we're just really supportive as much as we can.
而 Sophie 最感謝嘅人，除咗佢父母之外，仲有佢嘅教練。
Probably my parents and my coaches. This has been a really crazy year, and there's been a lot of changes. And we had a great season.
Nancy Bayers 係呢一間體操會嘅主教練。2017年佢開始指導 Sophie 訓練，對 Sophie。Nancy 給予咗好高嘅評價。
Sophie is actually an all-around gymnast. She is both strong and flexible, very speedy. I'd say her best strength, though, is her ability to focus. She's very precise. She knows her body well, and she's never overexcited or under in a slump. She's got a good positive attitude every day, and she's just a steady worker and like a very good gymnast to work with.
佢話通常教練會基於比賽日程制定年度訓練計劃，但係針對唔同程度嘅學生，訓練內容仲係會有一定嘅調整。
She's one of our highest level gymnasts, so she has the most difficulties. So sometimes she does a little bit less reps than some people. Sometimes it depends on the schedule. But yeah, we try to tailor it the best we can based on the yearly training plan.
回憶起過往嘅比賽經歷。Nancy 諗起一件同 Sophie 有關嘅趣事。
I just know that she's got a really good sense of humor. She's a good leader in our thing. We found this photo of all the girls, and Sophie was one of them right there. They're all sitting at the judges' table. They're all sitting at the judges' table, all with their different looks, like they were actually judging the judges. And that was a really a fun moment at Canadian Championships, and that was in 2018.
對於 Sophie， 佢寄予厚望。
Oh, I have high expectations actually. I want her short term. The goal is to become a junior national team, so that's hopefully this year. Last year would have been great, but we didn't have enough competitions. So anyways, this year, junior national team would be a good goal. Long term, senior national team, maybe represent Canada at a major games would be nice. And I think NCAA is also on her radar.
不過，針對本國對於體操訓練嘅相關資源 ，Nancy 就認為有支持，但係並唔足夠。
But actual competition and getting exposure, I think that there's a lot of camps and competitions that are self-funded, that you can't, that it costs so much money. Even for someone like Sophie to go to a competition, she has to pay for all of her flights. She has to pay for her parents to come because we are not allowed to take care of kids due to vulnerability issues and things like that. So she has to pay for me, she has to pay for her parents, she has to pay for herself to go to anything. So more resources can always be used.
佢話：事實上，體操非常需要支持，因為佢係好多運動嘅基礎。
If you start as a gymnast, young gymnast, you can become an excellent soccer player, or you can become a pole vaulter, you can become track and field star. These athletes are like super athletes because they can take on everything. You have to have style, grace, courage, balance, coordination, amazing amounts of strength, and amazing amount of dedication.
怎么样的去训练孩子？我觉得体育是最好的训练孩子毅力的一个方式。
趙冰唔單止曾經擔任中國國家藝術體操隊教練，喺90年移居加拿大之後，佢亦曾經擔任過加拿大國家體操隊教練，而佢亦都曾經係 Laura Ann 嘅體操教練。以佢睇嚟，家中兩國對於體操運動員嘅培養方式有住顯著嘅唔同。
在這邊就你沒有任何的那個基礎的，沒有關係，只要你進到體育館裡頭、體操館裡頭，你可以參加任何的 recreation 的項目。然後呢，可能這個 competitive 的教練、比賽的組的教練可以，看到你可以跟你的家長去談。當然，在你的愛好和你的經濟能力能支撐的情況下，那在國內當然是不一樣的。那我們是下基層去選材的。你看我那個時候在選那個藝術體操的運動員的時候，我都到省裡邊，我是跑了上百個學校。
趙冰認為喺本國，事實上從運動教育方面以及普遍家庭嘅重視程度嚟講，資源係非常足夠㗎。但係相比起中國甚至係美國，培養運動員嘅系統體制有好大唔同。
主要是它不是國家包辦也不是說各個省裡面就有很大的資金撥款給你，都純粹是靠民眾的這種運動的意識。這個資源怎麼講有一個很大觀念的不同。所有的這個過程，我覺得在加拿大非常不容易。如果出一個好的運動員，你不光是體操，包括其他的項目，花樣滑冰、花樣游泳其他的項目，同樣是這裡的孩子的努力，不說家長是一個很大的一個支持，對。然後呢，你還要有這個不說先天的天才要有一定的條件，同時還要遇到一個好的教練。這樣這些方面的集合在一塊兒，你才能出一個好的那個運動員。
趙冰目前喺社區從事娛樂體操教育嘅工作，佢認為喺本國開始想要接觸體操並唔難。
其實一塊墊子就可以教體操，但你如果到了後來你要從事真正的專業的這方面，當然你要去的俱樂部。其實基本上每一個城市都有體操俱樂部，只是你自己沒有去尋找。
而喺本國想要成為一名優秀嘅體操運動員，第一就係需要堅持。
這個堅持不光是你的技術這些是肯定你要達到一定的程度，要取得好的成績，而且是你的 mental， 對，這個是很重要的。因為這邊你不可以放棄學業，那你學校也要堅持。那但困難的時候，在你不光是生病，在成績下降，它那個波動的時候，這個堅持是很重要。同時，你從基礎到要到了一定的competitive level 的時候，要選一個好的教練。 这个是很重要的，而且你要跟这个教练有一个非常好的 connection， 要配合得好。但做到這一點是不容易的。
而如果要真正提高本國嘅體操項目水平，趙冰認為需要從基礎做起，加強社區普及教育，咁先提升家長嘅意識。
家長的積極參與，他會意識到這個項目為什麼對孩子他的身體的整體的能力的提高有幫助，對大腦智力的提高有幫助。你哪怕將來孩子不從事這個體操的項目，但體操是基礎，你可以轉型去練任何其他的項目。所以我們現在社區的，我就一塊墊子哦，我給孩子開發的就所有的，包括協調，包括他的藝術感受、平衡能力、他的方向感，這些都在我們的訓練當中。體操實際上把它拆開，身體的操練就這麼簡單。
好啦，今集嘅節目時間呢又夠啦。咁如果觀眾對我哋嘅節目有啲乜嘢意見嘅話，係好歡迎大家以電郵嘅方式同我哋聯絡㗎。咁如果想重溫翻今集嘅節目，亦都可以上到去我哋嘅網站，點擊節目重溫一欄。下星期同樣時間再同大家見面，晚安。